It's time to turn your life-challenging moments into life-changing messages. Welcome to the Power Lift Stories podcast, where we are interviewing women whose stories will leave you lifted up, fired up, and fueled up with hope, courage, and inspiration. We want to thank our sponsor, Powerful Journey, who helps women tell their stories, write their books, and building a profitable brand around both. Join the masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com. That is PhyllisJenkins.com. Now here's your host, Phyllis Jenkins.
Phyllis Jenkins here, and let me tell you, today's interview is power-packed. Not only did I interview one author, I interviewed two authors today, and so you get to hear two powerful, life-changing stories from these women. But before we jump over into the interview today, let me ask you, have you subscribed to the podcast? Have you hit the notification button yet? Also, if you are ready or feel even an inkling to tell your story, we still have some room in our Writer's Journey community. We meet weekly via Zoom, so no matter where you are, right now we have women that are in Michigan, Chicago, New York, Texas, Louisiana. We have women that are coming from across the globe that are a part of this community. And oh my goodness, are we having some great experiences. They are writing, they are sharing, and they are getting their manuscripts ready for their books. So if that sounds like something that you would like to be a part of, then either send me a message or look into the show notes and you'll see a link where you can join the community. If you were waiting for the Authors Academy, well, you have missed this year's enrollment, but we have a waiting list and you would be the first to know when it opens up again. So be sure to do that. Well, let me not keep you waiting any longer. Let's jump into our powerful interview today. Thanks for being here. We are so excited to have you with us today, and we have not one, but two interviews that we're doing today, and I am so excited to have our chat with these two new authors. If you were in attendance, whether in person or virtually, at our Powerful Journey Women's Conference in April, then you saw these two marvelous women sharing their stories, launching their books, and now we're going to just dive a little deeper with them. So welcome, 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 Melissa. Welcome, Shantta. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And let me just say that I want to congratulate you because you didn't stop with the Authors Academy. Both of you jumped into the Next Steps class where we are helping them take their books to the next level, and we are enjoying having them in the class. So right now, let me just introduce you. I'm going to go in alphabetical order with your names, your first name. So we're going to start with Melissa. Melissa, would you share with us the title of your book, which we see in the background? And if you have it, you want to hold it there. There it is, her beautiful picture on her book. Talk about, if you would, Melissa, the title of your book and how you chose that title.
I chose that shocking moment for the title of my book because there was a time when I received my diagnosis I was very shocked. I was at a standstill. I was speechless. I couldn't move. I was just totally at that point when I just didn't know what to do. I was so shocked. And that was a shocking moment for me, being standing still and receiving such diagnosis from my doctor.
The perfect title for your book. And we look forward to diving a little deeper into your story in a moment. But Shantta, I now want to jump over to you and ask, what's the title of your book and why did you choose the title? And of course, show your beautiful book as well.
Yes. The name of my book is The Hunt for Enough, Finding Self-Worth Through Forgiveness. And I chose the title, The Hunt for Enough, because it mirrors the journey it took for me to go through my pain and trauma, the journey that I had to go through to find forgiveness and to find myself after I lost myself to all that pain. I had to hunt for me again. So I chose the hunt for enough because I literally had to hunt for my self-worth and for my place in the world. And that's what the hunt for enough looks like.
Wow. Well, since we're talking about that with you, go on and share, if you would, your story, your life-changing story.
Well, it started with trauma. I was brutally raped at the age of 8 and again at 13. And then later in life, I was diagnosed with lupus and 8 other sister diseases. And all of that trauma caused me to lose myself. And I lost my relationship with my family and my friends. I began to isolate myself. I gained so much weight. I could no longer walk. I was on pain medicine that kept me isolated in my home. And it wasn't until I actually began to see how important it is to change your thoughts. You know, when you're in that state of mind where you're going through depression and suicide, it's very important to change your thoughts in order to change your life. You know, I learned that from the late Wayne Dyer. And when I began to apply that to my life, I began to see a significant difference. I regained my ability to walk. I overcame suicide. So, you know, it's been since 2017 since I've attempted to kill myself or even been committed to a mental home. I was committed to a mental home 3 separate times for suicide attempts. And this was all because I had lost my sense of enough. So I knew, you know, I prayed to God and I asked God, like, how can I find me? And all I saw was a vision of me and my friends and loved ones buried in a cemetery. And I knew, all I heard was it's all connected. And I knew in my heart that if I attempted to kill myself, that I'd be taking everyone I loved and cared for with me, you know. So I vowed to never attempt to kill myself, nor be committed to another mental home again. And to this day, I can gratefully say that I haven't, you know, and it's because I was able to find my enough and find my self-worth through forgiveness, through forgiving those that inflicted the pain on me, through forgiving myself for believing that I deserved it, and through forgiving God for just believing that he had left me and just forgotten about me.
Wow. What an amazing journey you have been on. And I just want to say that at our women's conference, you stood and shared in a workshop that was
Yes.
wall to wall. All the seats were taken, y'all, standing room only. And you shared and you taught about finding yourself and being enough. And not only does Shantta have her book, but she has a workbook. And I have received so many testimonials, Shantta, from those who attended your conference. So I'm just grateful to God that He kept you here. He kept you here for a reason, and you have found your purpose in life, and He has turned it all around for your good and for His glory. And you are doing some amazing things, which we'll talk about a little later. But now I want to go back over to Melissa. And Melissa, I want you to please share your life-changing story with us.
Thank you. My journey began in 2015 when I was at work, and I noticed that I had a little stain on my blouse. How embarrassing it was. I still went to my supervisor to let her know. She asked me to go immediately to see my doctor, give her a call and go see her, in which I did. So when I got there, she sent me immediately over to the Women Diagnostic Clinic. And I was like, wow, So I just thought nothing too much of it, since I've never been in a diagnostic clinic before, like the one I went to get a 3D mammogram. But after that, when I returned to her office, she told me she had already made the phone call to a good doctor that she's familiar with and know real well, and wanted me to see her. And she happens to be a breast specialist. So I agreed to go make the appointment to go see her. And so upon seeing her, she had gotten the results back and presented those results to me and my husband, just not knowing what to expect at the time. We sat and we talked, and she did tell me she got the results back from the diagnostic center, and that I had breast cancer. Being such a shock as it was to me, we didn't know where to start. So we did some research, kind of looking into information about it, trying to find out as much as we possibly could so that we could be able to know kind of what to expect. But as the time went on, it just seemed that it was just going so slow. The process to me was not fast enough. Sometimes we get in a hurry. We want things right away, right now. But then there's a waiting period because things take time. Of course, I had to accept that and wait on that. In the meantime, listen to people talk negative about different things when it comes to breast cancer, So the journey itself was overwhelming to me. And I think maybe part of that waiting period, I developed a small stroke during that, and I had they call it a TI, which is a small stroke. That was shocking that I had a stroke, because I wasn't feeling that I was going to be having a stroke or anything like that. So that shocked me up even more. And those things will play on your nerves if you don't watch it. And you can't watch something that you're not familiar with, of course. But I must say that I went through all of the, I went through my, the process of getting my speech back, getting my walking back, where I wouldn't fall, getting my balance back. So the therapy was a big plus for me. So I got back on my feet, and during 2017, when that stroke had come upon me, and I just knew everything now was going to be a piece of cake. Just follow the procedures that the doctor gave me, listen to them, listened to my, the choices that I had for the treatment to remove the cancer itself. Now that was very, very intense. It was very scary, of course, because when it was explained to me what all they did to remove the cancer, I was left in doubt as to, if they're going to get it all, but my doctor assured me, uh, which happens to be the breast surgeon as well as a cancer surgeon, assured me that she was going to dig as deep as she could without causing harm to any other parts of the breast to get all of the cancer out. So I took that up on her word only because she said that I follow God's voice. I do what he tells me to do. When he tells me to go left, I go left. If he say go right, I go right. Now, why I'm going those ways, I really don't know myself, only because it's something he saw while I'm in the process of the surgeries, things that he sees that I cannot see. And so when I hear his voice, I just do a little slight right or I do a slight left, just like he says, because I am the surgeon. I'm like an instrument that he uses to remove the cancer from your body. When she said that to me, that made me braver. I was like, oh my, she speaks like a woman of God. She really is. She really knows this. She knows him for herself. That gave me the confidence I did not have when I first walked in there. I did not have that. When I saw the breast surgeon, I did not have confidence in him until he told me, he says, we're going to leave this up to God. Now he's given me my instructions and I've given you your instructions. So we're going to just leave it up to him because you're going to be all right. Then too, I was like, okay, great. This was great news for me, comforting to me because I knew something was gonna go wrong. I'm gonna die. I just knew it. I knew it. I knew they was playing around with me, just trying to lead me on because they knew. Because when you hear this, people die. I've seen people die. I've had relatives to die. I've seen it. So it's like I was so dark. I was in a dark place, and I could not see my way out any kind of way. But God spoke to me, and He says, you're going to live because you're going to tell somebody. You're going to tell this story one day. And I was like, who's going to believe it? Not what I'm going through right now. Nobody's going to believe that. But, because I believed and because I trusted him, I'm able to tell my story to others to help them so that they could see their way and know that there's light at the end of that tunnel. It's not as dark as we think because our thinking is not like God thinking is. We think while we're busy subtracting, he's adding years to our life. He's adding years
Yes.
to us.
Mhm.
So this is where I was in that to do the overall picture of it. He brought me through it. And it's just a story I just could not keep to myself
I
because
love that. I love
thank
that.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What a powerful message you both have. And both of you touched upon having to change your mindset. And
Yes.
I want those of you listening today, those of you who are watching today, whatever it is that challenge, that burden, that trial that you're going through, start with your mindset. Turn those negative thoughts into what you want to see. I actually had someone tell me yesterday that we speak what we seek. And that is so true. We speak what it is that we seek to have. So stop speaking all the negative and speak what you seek to have. And that's what both Shantta and Melissa are saying to us today. And not only that, make sure you surround yourself with people that will support you, not discourage you, not pull you down, not tell you about, well, this person that didn't make it from this and this person. Don't surround yourself with those type of people. Surround yourself with those who will help build you up and leave you lifted. And that's exactly what both of these women are doing today. They are here. God kept them here to share their stories with those of you who are watching today, to give you hope, to give you inspiration, to give you encouragement, and to move you to action. And so we are so very grateful to Melissa and to Shantta for being obedient and stepping up and sharing their stories. Again, if you were at the conference, you saw and you heard Shantta in her workshop, and then you saw Melissa take that stage and take control of it, sharing her story in a very powerful, powerful way. And so, ladies, again, I want to say thank you. Let's move now into our next section of our interview, which both of you have already answered the question about how God worked in how he moved in your situation. So now what I would like to have you do is to share with our audience the 3 things that you would like for them to take away. And so I'm going to set the stage for this. Each of you in a separate arena have stood on stage and you've told your life-changing stories. Your venue was filled to the brim with women who needed to hear from you, women who needed your story, women who thought they were alone. They were the only ones walking through that particular situation until they heard you, until they heard your story, until they heard how God took you through. That woman stood up and they gave each of you a standing ovation at the end of your message. But now the event is over. The women have all turned to go to their vehicles and you are left on stage. The curtain closes. You prepare to walk away to your own vehicle. What are 3 things, Melissa, that you hope that every woman walked away with?
Well, I hope the women have walked away with trusting, number one, God, trusting their faith, trusting that they're more than just a cancer patient. But I want them to know that they are overcomers, that they can do anything that they set their mind to do. There's nothing too big for God. I want them to walk away knowing that deep inside of them, they have a story to tell somebody else, so their story can help someone, help them overcome their moments of disappointment or uncertainties. Thirdly, I want them to walk away knowing that their story is going to bless somebody else, to strengthen somebody else, to get somebody else to rise up from that bed and walk. Yes, I know their story could do that. If the people at the conference or wherever they're speaking, they could deliver that message and tell them that they know somebody who's gone through it to help them, to move them. That's what I want them to get out of my story. Amen. I want them to know that they are delivered and they're overcomers.
Absolutely. I just love how you all are sharing with such passion. Our listeners, those who are watching, cannot help but to hear and to see the passion and the power in which your answers are coming forth. And we will tell them in a few minutes how they can get your books. Shantta, the stage has been set. The women have walked away, and now it's time for you to walk away. What do you hope? What 3 lessons do you hope every woman walked away with?
Oh, there's so many lessons. But 3, 1, suicide is never the answer. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There are so many other options. You are not alone. There's someone out there who gets it. Second, Life is a reflection of what you believe. If you believe that you are stuck, then you are going to live from a stuck place. Everything you do and think is going to be negative. But if you believe that you are enough, that you are here for a reason, for a purpose, then you live with power, and you have a hope, a newfound glow about you. Lastly, if you change your thoughts, you change your life. I said that earlier. Reframing your negative thoughts into positive statements is something that will fuel you and keep you ready for the fight every day. So start your mornings with affirmations instead of doubts. And you will begin to see a change in you. You will begin to see a confidence rise up in you. And you will be able to stand up within yourself and say, I got this. I am enough. Y'all, God got you. God got you when you feel forgotten. God sees you when you feel invisible. And God gets you when you feel misunderstood.
Very well said. Very well said. And I just want to say thank you to each of you. Shantta, you mentioned that you were not even able to walk at one point. Not only did God heal you through that, but he has allowed you to walk down runways now.
Yes.
and model and glow for him. Yes. And tell your story as well. So you both have books. And let me just say to those of you that are watching that both Melissa and Shantta are available to come to your groups. They will lead workshops. They will speak at your ladies' brunches. They will come to your podcast. They will come and do whatever they need to get their stories and their messages told. Yes. They are on a mission to help change lives. It's not about them anymore. It's about changing lives. And so these women, I will have their contact information in the show notes, and be sure to reach out to them. And now let's find out how you can purchase their books. Melissa, tell them how they can purchase your books.
Yes, you may purchase the books on Amazon and just type in my name, Melissa Walpool-Lafitte. You can type that name and the book will come up. The picture will come up. It'll come up just like this, and it'll have the ordering information right there. And like Miss Jenkins said, she'll post the information. I'll send her the link so she could post that as well. But that is how you could get it from Amazon. You may reach me at Melissa cancerfree51@gmail.com. That's Melissa Cancer, CANCER free 51@gmail.com. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Melissa. And Shantta, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do the same. As Melissa said, the links will be in the show notes so that you can purchase their books. All right, Shantta, how can they connect with you and purchase your book?
You can find my book, The Hunt for Enough, on Amazon, or you can find it on my website at infinitereachllc.com. That's infinite without the I. So that's NFINITE, reachllc.com. You can find me on Instagram, connect with me, follow me, learn more about my mission and how you can get involved at Shantta Stevens on Instagram or Facebook.
And Shantta, you have something coming up soon, correct? Is it?
Yes.
Can you shout out about that real fast, please?
Sure. It's the More Than Enough Empowerment Workshop. It started out as a makeover experience and turned into a full-fledged workshop where there would be games, there would be self-esteem boost activities. There'll be a balloon release to help you let go of some things. Can you hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so they'll have a chance to really connect and get to know themselves and each other, and get to walk away feeling so much whole than they were when they first got there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be this Saturday here in Tampa at Freedom Church of Tampa. It'll be from 12 to 2, and I'll be speaking and just leading the discussion on how to reframe your negative thinking into positive statements and what that looks like. So I'm excited about it.
Very good. And for those of you that are watching the replay, if you've missed it, then make sure again that you reach out to Shantta, and she can bring that very same workshop to you where you are. Ladies, thank you again. It's such an honor to have you on, and I'm so blessed to see how God is using the stories that were placed inside of you that have now come to life in the form of your books and going forth and with workshops and speaking engagements and everything else. All glory goes to God. And again, thank you all for being here today. For our listeners, let me just say, I know that you were blessed by the messages today. Make sure that you bless someone else. Share this podcast episode with someone else. If you have not hit the notification button on your subscription, please do so that you will know whenever we have our podcast interviews coming up. We don't want you to miss any. So thank you again for being here. For those of you who have asked about the Authors Academy, this year's enrollment has closed, but you can get on the waiting list for the next season of our Authors Academy. Also, we have the Writer's Journey that is going on, and you can jump into it as well. So it is open for you to jump into, and I'll have all of that information in our show notes. Have a wonderful, blessed day today. May God keep you. May you stay cool wherever you are, because it seems like most of the nation is under a heat wave, a heat alert. So, but again, thank you for spending this time with us today. Ladies, I love you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in being on the show, go to phyllisjenkins.com. You can also sign up for the Powerful Journey Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com.